As I sat down to record this episode, the end of the 2024 NASCAR season is in sight, and all three series head into the penultimate race of the season at Martinsville Speedway. In the Craftsman Truck Series, both Rajah Caruth and Nick Sanchez are on the outside looking in as the playoff cutoff race looms. The pair in a virtual must-win situation. Looking at the 2024 season as a whole, they have a combined 3 wins in the series and are very much in the hunt to win a championship at the national level. Will that happen? Who knows? And I don't want to get into the habit of making predictions on a podcast that you might be listening to 3 months from now. But regardless of the outcome, the mere fact that 2 Drive for Diversity alumni are in contention is a true realization of the idea that was laid out back in 2004 at the NASCAR R&D Center when the program was announced.
So we are 2 down, 1 to go in the round of 8 before we race for a championship. One thing we know for sure, Grant Enfinger will battle it out, but headed to Martinsville. How does it look?
Rajah Caruth is 22 out. 24 points out is Taylor Gray. 41 points out is the Tyler Ankrum truck, and 43 out is Nick Sanchez, virtually in a must-win situation.
And you just never know.
Honestly, I can only drive my truck at the end of the day, so I'm super confident in our HendrickCars.com Chevy Silverado, and I'm super thankful to be here. In the mix for a championship is pretty special. So as far as points go, I ain't really tripping on it. I can only drive my truck, and if I run well enough, then I don't got to worry about points.
You're listening to Driving Change, a celebration of 20 years of NASCAR's Drive for Diversity program, and I'm your host, Crystal Clay. We often associate the success of the Drive for Diversity program with on-track performance. And yes, that is the most obvious metric. But the program has had a greater impact on the sport as a whole. The competition side is kind of like the front porch of NASCAR, but the impact of the program has been felt far beyond the racing surface and pit road. A concept that NASCAR leaders like Mike Helton knew had to be the basis of the program in order for it to flourish.
NASCAR truly wants to be open-armed and be accessible to anybody that wants to be part of it. Every organization, every company, every sport wants people who are energized to be part of their program and help it sustain itself, help it grow, help it go on down the road. And at the same time, if in the case of NASCAR, we have a program that goes to schools and goes to communities and says, these are the opportunities we can work together on, I think it makes us better as an organization. We get a group of very energetic and smart employees that help us stay on track and grow the sport. And at the same time, hopefully we explain to communities that look at NASCAR as kind of a different sport, that we're as American as everything else is.
Athletes on pit road like Rocco Williams saw this evolution play out in real time.
All the top decision makers through the program started out in the program, through internships, through the program itself. So it's a program that produced the talent that eventually runs it. That's the steps that it made. The substance and the variability and the realness of it just increased each year. Brandon got a little bit more involved. Erica got more involved. Jusan got more involved. Coach Horton got more involved. All of our heads of this program, as they learned and matured and got elevated and moved up and started, evolving with the sport, the program did as well.
NASCAR's Diversity Internship program actually predates the Drive for Diversity program by a few years, as NASCAR's Vice President of Diversity and Inclusion, Brandon Thompson, explains.
I was a year or two behind, certainly the first couple cohorts of the internship program, and about a year right after the Drive for Diversity program was established. I remember there was certainly a lot of excitement around the program. I remember folks coming on our campus to recruit, had a lot of great interaction, flyers up and these sort of things. Seemed like there was really good energy around it. When I arrived at NASCAR, there was a certain amount of, again, just sort of palpable energy and chit-chat and chatter, if you will, around this new program. And I was fortunate enough that my boss at the time allowed me to actually attend, which would have been, I think, the second ever Drive for Diversity Combine. My eyes were open. I joke with folks that actually Brett Bonine taught me how to drive a race car that day. While I've never been able to do it, it's just really cool to be able to sit there at South Boston and be able to see and listen to the different conversations and dialogue around why people were selecting certain drivers and what sort of characteristics that they were looking at.
Brandon is an advocate of the program in his current role, but how he actually got involved is a bit of a funny story.
This is one of my favorite stories to tell. I participated in a summer bridge program between my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college. And the woman that directed that program, it was actually called the Academic Preseason Program, was really good about curating just opportunities and internships for students. And we built a relationship over the rapport of that summer. And when the next school year started, of course, she was all up on like, hey, you need to be thinking about internships as you move into your sophomore year. It was also a requirement of our curriculum. And I befriended her enough, and we had close enough relationship that I had a key to her desk where I could go in and kind of study and get a quiet moment if I needed to. And during one of those quiet moments, I sat behind her desk and was doing everything that I was always instructed not to as a kid, be nosy on someone's things. But I came across the printout or packet at the time, because everything was, stapled and printed, about the NASCAR Diversity Internship Program. And really the only thing that I remember thinking is that it was something new that I had not really heard of or thought about before. But the other thing was that it was in my hometown and I wanted to go home for the summer. So I applied, did my interview for the job while we were on spring break in Myrtle Beach. Some sort of way I still got it. I don't know how. And here I am.
The NASCAR Diversity Internship Program is a paid internship that seeks undergraduate and graduate students from diverse backgrounds and experiences to contribute to the fast-paced NASCAR industry. It provides practical, unique, hands-on experience in a variety of fields vital to the sport and business operations. For one alumni, all that experience helped to make history in the sport.
Jason Hamilton, Managing Director of Competition Operations at NASCAR, and that encompasses a wide range of things on the competition side of the sport, everything from race directing, overseeing the logistics of the facility as it relates to our competition objectives, and overseeing competition programs like the Drive for Diversity program, driver development, and pit crew development programs.
In 2018 at Pocono, Jason became the first Black race director in the history of the sport. And in 2022, he broke barriers again. As the Cup Series drivers took the green in the 64th running of the Great American Race, he became the first Black race director in the history of the Daytona 500, and only the fourth different person to sit in the seat since 1979.
It's time to get the Daytona 500 underway. Why don't we now go trackside for the command to fire up the engines?
And now, race fans, here to say the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome Pro Football Hall of Famer, Heisman Trophy winner, and Fox NFL analyst, Charles Woodson. Daytona, are you ready? Drivers, start your engine!
Commands being given, crank them up. What's up? Good afternoon. Biggie, thank you for leading us to green today and getting this one started. The road will be clear for you, but coming to the green this time. The 5 is a control car, and it shows in the outside lane. Green flag. Green flag.
Green flag goes in the air, and Kyle Larson from the outside lane crosses the start-finish line. He'll go to driver's left, fall in line at the bottom of the racetrack to begin to lead the field to turn 1.
A lifelong race fan, Jason knew he wanted to have a positive impact on the sport he loved.
For me growing up, even though I was someone who grew up as a racer, loved the sport from the time I was really 4 years old, I didn't know that there were business opportunities in the sport. It never really crossed my mind that you could make a living working in different areas of the sport where you actually contribute in a meaningful way. So the internship program really gives you an insight into different functions and allows you to move around and see which one of those functions might be right for you. Whether it's on the racetrack side of things, working at one of the facilities across the country, or working for the sanctioning body like I do, whether it's in competition or working, let's say, in broadcast. You're going to get opportunities to experience each of those areas of the sport. Unlike other internships where you kind of are focused in one area, you can kind of make your path. And I think that's something that's always lost on all sports. You know, the stars of sports are the competitors, right? And that's what you see on TV. But there are hundreds and really thousands of people behind the scenes that make it all happen. The Drive for Diversity internship program is going to give you insight into one of those areas and hopefully allow you to find the one that's best for you.
Reaching new audiences and growing the fan base is one of NASCAR's primary goals. We heard from Erica Wilkerson back in our Combine episode as she was helping young drivers with media training. For her, NASCAR was something she was surrounded by growing up in Florida. But it wasn't until she got the internship in college that she knew this was the place she wanted to be.
My parents actually were involved. Like, my parents actually liked the sport, and they've been to a couple of races in Daytona Beach, which is like an hour and a half away from home. But for me growing up, I've never been. I'm also near a couple of speedways back home, and I never been to the racetrack. But I guess I got the bug with coming through the diversity internship program. I was like, they go really fast. This is exciting. I don't understand why more people aren't involved in it. And I kind of just took the lead from there. And I just became a fan. I was in school and I was sitting there with my career advisor, and someone came in, Cara Adams, who's a previous diversity intern, and she was mentioning to my career advisor that they were having the diversity internship program and that she wanted people to promote it and let people know it's paid. And so I was listening, I was like, okay, so I researched and I applied and I reached out to her and got some more information. I applied and I was accepted for a position with Daytona International Speedway on the guest services side. And so I interned there and I did that in 2011. And right afterwards, I spoke with director Dawn Harris and I said, I like this a lot. Can I please stay a little bit longer? And she said, sure, we could definitely use the help. And I stayed on a little bit longer, which turned into about 6 months almost there. And I just caught the bug. I mean, I've looked for full-time positions, and obviously you stated earlier, it takes a while. It took a while to get back, but I was persistent and I applied and I met with people and networked. And next thing you know, 5 years later, I got an offer full-time and here I am.
In her current role as the Senior Director of Multicultural and Youth Marketing, Erica is able to take her passion for the sport and pass it on to a new generation of fans.
And we want them to become lifelong fans. We want to teach them while they're young that NASCAR is cool, NASCAR is fun, and that NASCAR you can learn. You can learn some of the STEM initiatives that are going on throughout the sport. 2011, we were here in Charlotte, and we did the All-Star Weekend. That's usually when they kick off the internship program. And they took us around the track, introduced us to a lot of people, and I remember meeting just so many people of color. And I was just really shocked because I know that's something people mention, they say it a lot, but you don't really anticipate that when you think of NASCAR. And I know that's something that we're working towards now, but walking around with the group of us and we meet so many people of color who are doing really good things with the sport. And then also just meeting people, period, who are just, whether they're minorities, whether they're females, whether they're just whomever, they're people. Everyone wanted to be there. Everyone was having a good time. Everyone had a really good thing to say and do. And I thought that was something that it seemed like a family organization. For my previous employers or from my previous time in college, I didn't anticipate that was gonna happen. Coming right out of school and finding an organization that you really want to be a part of. So that's probably my most memorable moment, is that I realized right then and there, I want to be with NASCAR.
For Susan Wong, working in sports was a goal of hers in college at Arizona State University, and the chance of an internship with NASCAR gave her that opportunity.
I've been involved in sports for forever. I played sports all through growing up. I have a degree in sports journalism in undergrad. So that's my base. I did so much social media stuff in college, and that's what I really wanted to do. And I was like, this is fun. I like doing it. I like taking pictures, making content, all that stuff. I was looking for a sports internship. I was just I need something that isn't with ASU, big sports, professional sports in some sort. I was just looking on LinkedIn one night. I think it was November or maybe even December of 2021. And I saw this NASCAR social media internship. I was like, oh, that's cool. And I, read into it, and it was specifically looking for individuals of diverse backgrounds. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. Heard back maybe in January or February, and then went through multiple rounds of interviews and all that stuff. So I started in, I guess it would have been end of May in 2022. The first ever race I attended was actually the ARCA race at Charlotte in May of 22. It was during an orientation, so all of the interns went together and we were all dressed in like, I think it was gray polos that first day or something like that. You know, we looked like a field trip group walking through the pits, but it was cool. Like I had never, been to a racetrack before. I was like, Charlotte is humongous. I remember we were down in the pits for a while, then we watched the race from the suites actually. I really didn't know what I was looking at kind of. I was just like seeing cars. The one that really sticks out was Sunday when we were at the Coke 600 race and Chris Buescher flipped.
Problems along the front stretch. Daniel Suarez gets sideways, then he gets clipped by two other cars, and it's going to be Chris Buescher's car flipping in the infield grass as it barrel rolls a half a dozen times before it finally comes to rest on its roof. Tremendous problems along the front stretch here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the 16th yellow flag of the day.
I got to see that in person with my eyes. And I was like, holy, that's crazy. He's out of the car, he's okay. Like, it was just so thrilling. I knew from then, I was like, wow, this is cool. I like this.
In February of 2023, Susan won the Outstanding Intern Award, which led her to accepting a full-time job creating social content for the NASCAR regional team, covering ARCA, Modifieds, and the weekly series.
Currently, I am the Senior Social Content Coordinator for NASCAR Regional, and that encompasses the Advanced Auto Parts weekly series, the ARC Menards series, as well as the Whelen Modified Tour. So the three series that we are, kind of in charge of are the grassroots series that lead up to the ladder of the national series. In my job, I do social content. So like posting out content, creating graphics, and making sure we have a plan for things throughout the week. And then at the track, I'm mostly filming social content or photos or videos, depending on, the type of staff we have around that day. If we're more fully staffed, I usually just focus on social content, so more fun, lighthearted things.
Last lap tonight, Ron Silk's in front of you. Crash or pass? Pass. How about Justin Bonsignor? Pass. Okay. Last lap, Justin Bonsignor is in front of you. Crash or pass? Crash. How about Ron Silk? Crash. Last lap tonight, Ron Silk. Crash or pass? Pass. Justin Bonsignor? Crash.
Crash. In 2021, Mama Smith became an analyst for NASCAR.com and has appeared on numerous programs across NASCAR's platforms, including one of NASCAR's newest shows, Inside the Playoffs, that airs on True TV.
That is the way to kick off a show. This is the way to kick off the playoffs. It is playoff time in NASCAR. Every Thursday, we are going to go inside the playoffs. I'm Shannon Spake, Daytona 500 winning crew chief, Steve Letarte, Mamba Smith. And for the next two Thursdays, this guy right here, 2 championships, 231 wins across NASCAR's top 3 series, Kyle Busch. And when conversations started, you are welcome. I'm going to give you a second to kind of say your thanks. Because when conversations started, there was one driver that we wanted on this set. KFB. Am I wrong?
I feel honored. No, that's awesome. I appreciate that. So it's great to be here, and I'm looking forward to being a part of the TV programs here. I've never really taken part of it, so hopefully I don't screw up too much.
I'm just excited that I get to sit in the same room as Steve Letarte, Shannon Spake, and KFB. They're going to have a lot of fun throughout this whole thing and talk a little racing. Our fan base knows. Like, they know who people are, and like, if you don't know your stuff, they know you don't know your stuff. Even though the industry at large knew who I was, the 5, 10, 20 million fans out there, they don't know. How can I reach them where they're at and then let them see who I am after? No one's gonna get mad at the fun guy that's just supporting the same thing that you're supporting. And that's kind of where it started, and now we've transitioned to being a host, analyst, MC, but like somebody that's close to your favorite drivers that might know them and might be able to answer a little bit of questions about someone's character or what makes them great. It was just a place for people to land, and then once they figured out who I was, oh, this is why, like, he's credible because he has this championship with Kevin Harvick or this championship with Kyle Larson, and he made races like the Snowflake or the Myrtle Beach 400, and like then that credibility came after that. I just did it, reverse engineered it. I just wanted to meet people where they were first and not try to tell you why you should listen to me, but I want you to, if you like my opinion like this, get to know me first, so that's great.
Mamba has also made his experience behind the wheel pay off, making his debut as a pit reporter with NASCAR on Fox during the ARCA race at Dover Motor Speedway in early 2024.
Mamba, there's nothing like interviewing a first-time winner in the series.
First-time winner, Connor Zilish. This is a bad man right here. It seems like it doesn't matter what kind of car it is, you get in and you go fast. What is it like winning here at Dover? How do you feel right now, my friend?
Yeah, I can't even lie. Those first 70 laps, I was pretty intimidated. I was, I was saying, oh, the car's free, and then we were sitting under red on the back straightaway, and I was like, damn, I just need to get on the gas.
Chris Justice is another former athlete that has parlayed his time on the competition side of the sport into a role off the track, making a career for himself.
So I had a crew chief back when I was starting out that noticed my ambitious nature, charisma, and he noticed I was getting aggravated. And he sat me down and said, I got to figure out how to keep you in the sport. You can do well in this sport. You can go a long way in this sport. We're going to need to figure out how to keep you here. And from there, I became a tire guy, along with the pit stops. And I carried the tire guy duty from, 05 to 2012 when I started Stewart Haas. So that relationship was the basis or the baseline which helped me survive all these years,
Chris is a big proponent of telling folks that once you get your foot in the door, if you keep an open mind, you never know where you might end up.
You need to make sure you find yourself in a position to be valuable after the stops are over. You can only do stops for so long, right? You're going to age out. You have guys that are now coaches or, transition off of the, pit road side into shop roles, whether it be, talent acquisition guys or, hospitality side of the business. So people have transitioned off of pit road into other avenues that keep them valuable in the sport.
Again, Brandon Thompson.
When you see someone like Chris Justice be able to transition from being a pit crew member to working IT for a cup team, and so it does. It speaks to the opportunity and the sort of the vastness of jobs, if you will, a career path that you can pursue in NASCAR. But I also think it speaks to the environment, right? That someone would want to stay. So when you hear someone like Chris talk about how he was recruited by someone who was also doing this for the first time at Rocco, and for him to be able to, trust Rocco enough. We talked about mentorship a little bit earlier, and what that means, and the representation, the importance of that, to say, no, come on over. It's not so bad. You should get involved. And then for him to be able to stay here for 20 plus years, working and doing that, it speaks to, obviously, despite the perceptions maybe that some may have, that this is a great place to be. And NASCAR is exciting, and there's a world and there's a place really for anyone who wants to be a part of it.
Over the past 20 years, NASCAR has continued to evolve and become stronger as a sport and a community, keeping its ties to the past, celebrating its successes, all while recognizing and learning from missteps and mistakes to build a sport and a company that reflects the country as a whole. Again, Mike Helton.
So the older I get, the more value I place on mentorship. And having been blessed with mentors in my past, that gave me a leg up, I think, on a lot of moments in my career that I needed that leg up. I now get the opportunity to pass it back down. I used to think I was talking to my brothers and sisters, and then I thought I was talking to my son and daughter. Now I'm talking to my grandchildren. So being able, I think, the mentorship anywhere, and particularly in NASCAR, where we have a heritage, we have a history that we're proud of, but we're also building a new NASCAR every year, and keeping those two worlds connected, I think, comes through mentorship. And if it's not that, if it's not a brand of a sport or something, any mentor program and anything that any young person is trying to accomplish, having a mentor there to explain the pitfalls, to help them understand how it was when they were coming through it, I think helps that younger person just be more prepared. And so I'm a great believer in mentor programs.
One of the philosophies that we've tried to employ since I've taken over this role is sort of this triangle or circle between recruitment, retention, and representation. And I think things like the internship program really help fuel that. And I think the pit crew program, and I dare I say the Drive for Diversity program relative to the drivers, I think in each of their own sets. So whether you're talking about the front office staff or even more on the competition side, it still shows up. And that sort of loop, I think, is important, because when you're able to go out and recruit different folks and have different backgrounds represented, you're able to then retain more folks because you have representation, right? And it sort of follows, one follows the other. And I feel like the internship program, the fellowship program that we're on the brink of launching here in the fall will also be another pathway and entryway into that. And so we're excited about those types of things and what it means to help us to continue to grow in our inclusion space and on our diversity and inclusion journey.
Mentorship is key to the success of any organization, as Mike Helton pointed out. For Susan Wong, being a part of the NASCAR Diversity Internship Program has given her the opportunity to be the mentee and mentor in her relatively short time with the company.
When I was an intern, I was mentored by Rachel, who works on the tracks team, and that was super cool. It was good to have someone that wasn't my direct boss to be able to like bounce questions off of, or just like get an idea of how things worked around the corporate office, things like that. I think it's super helpful to just have someone that isn't directly your superior, I guess. Now that I'm full-time in this role, like I actually was a mentor this year. I was able to mentor this girl named Kayla. She was in the graphic design department. It's cool to now be on that side and being like, wow, I get to mentor someone, and like I brought her to the racetrack. We went to summer shootout together, and to bring a different side of skills that she wasn't doing, you know, in her day-to-day, because she was doing graphic design, but she really wanted to learn the content side. So took her with me to summer shootout, brought the cameras, like, you know, just different things, and just someone to like bounce ideas off of, just so like, hey, like if you ever need anything, I'm here to support you. That's what that whole mentorship is. It allows people to feel more comfortable in their jobs, not just like doing their job, but just in the environment of like the corporate world.
When I spoke with Rocco Williams, he put his experience in a way that, well, I think it's best to just let Rocco say it.
Here's the biggest difference I see now. When the program initially started, they might have not even known I was there at the racetrack because there were so few of us. And the teams weren't really advertising, long story short, the program was young. Today, you can't get lost now anymore. That's where we are now with the program. It is a more substance-driven. We might have to lose the word program. It's a family. It's a network. It's a community, a lifeline. It's a culture. It's a vibe. It's an energy. That's what it is now.
And that energy will only continue to build the community it has helped to create. Next time on Driving Change, we'll look to the future and see what the next 20 years of the Drive for Diversity program might look like.
Yes, like he works really hard, and obviously I'm a competitor. Right? I want to win. If I'm not winning it, like I'm very happy Andres got to win it, and I'm very happy he's winning it.
We've pushed each other for good in many races. I think during the race pace that Labar's has, so it just pushes you to be better, no mistakes.